There is much here that is unexplained. Rock terraces, no explanation. Stone grooves, no explanation. A stone dome in the middle of the water basin. Holes in the rock connected by a conduit system. What was this? Russian archaeologists answered that question with this drawing of a prehistoric metal washing plant in Soviet Armenia. This is how they say it worked. The precious metal remains behind while the lighter stone is rinsed away. Metals washed here included silver, gold, and platinum. The face, hands, and the rim of the sphere on this piece are all platinum, as well as the eyes on this golden mask. Platinum melts at 3,216 degrees Fahrenheit. From ancient technology, I went to the scene of the most advanced technology in the world, at NASA's Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral. In the firing room at the Cape, where the Apollo and Skylab missions were fired into space, I talked with Mr. Jesko von Puttkamp, Senior Staff Scientist, Office of Spaceflight for NASA. The blinking colored lights of the consoles simulated the actual activity during the countdown of a launch. What is NASA's opinion of the possibility of life in outer space?
We have concluded that you can create life building blocks in the laboratory, which could mean that it's just as easy out in the universe.
Could you give me a clear mathematical probability of the existence of life in outer space?
1.
1 to 1?
1 is certainty.
Oh, 1 is certainty.
1 is certainty.
So NASA feels that it's certain.
Yes.
What is the official opinion of UFOs? Do you accept the idea that UFOs exist?
No doubt. No doubt. I accept that.
There's no doubt that unidentified flying objects exist.
Yes.
The only question is where they came from.
And what they are. I don't think that UFOs are flying spaceships. We have often been accused in NASA that some of our spaceships going to the moon have been followed by UFOs, and that the astronauts and NASA is withholding information on UFOs. And I can assure you that this is not the case.
Do you think extraterrestrial beings could have come here 5,000 years ago?
If our so-called Big Bang theory of the creation of the universe applies, that means the universe had a beginning at a certain point in time, like 18 billion years ago, then most of the galaxies and the suns are more or less of the same age. This fact alone would indicate to me that the likelihood of having a very fast, very far advanced civilization out there is very low.
Well, let me take another attack then. How long a period of time do you think it will take before man will go out and explore space?
Depending on the priority given to this, it would be a matter of maybe 25 to 30 years to fly to Mars, and maybe another 20 years to fly out to Jupiter.
Therefore, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that a civilization that was 100, 200, maybe 1,000 years in advance of us would have vehicles that could come to Earth.
Certainly not. That would definitely be possible.
What do you think of von Daniken's theory that extraterrestrial beings came here 5,000 years ago and gave us information that we're now beginning to use?
I think it's an interesting theory. I have not been convinced by the so-called evidence that we indeed were visited, but I'm wide open to new developments. One puzzle in science which is relevant here is the genetic code, the DNA code in our human biology, which is rather complicated and which right now is very difficult to explain if we assume evolution of men on Earth alone. There are some questions which cannot right now be answered in the area of how did our biological genetic code evolve unless it was possibly imported from somewhere else.
Our brain, No one has ever been able to explain it. Over 14,000 million brain cells in the cerebral cortex alone. These are brain cells enlarged 200,000 times. Each of them reacts to the tiniest electrical impulses, a switching system vastly superior to anything modern technology has ever been able to create. One explanation, it could have been developed through a cross-breeding between primitive man and beings from other planets.
As you know, it's been said that our brain is one of the biggest mysteries in itself. Are we not looking at something that is deep in our ancient history?
Indeed, we have a racial memory, perhaps, of visitations, or at least contact, when we were more primitive, perhaps, in a more primitive state. This entire thing about the quantum leap that the human race took towards intelligence and self-conscious behavior is very mysterious. That there is a missing link, that there must have been intelligent interference at some time in evolutionary history. We know that apes and the humanoid types that we evolved from had 48 Y chromosomes, whereas today a human being has 46 X chromosomes, which is quite a change genetically, and there's a possibility, I think, that it was induced.
Could it be possible? Could intelligent beings from other planets have visited us, and we are the products of those visits? In the Lamech scroll, an ancient Semitic writing, Bat Enoch assures her husband, Noah's father, that she did not sleep with the watchmen of heaven. Who were these watchmen? Enoch, a Jewish prophet, is even more specific. He gives this reproach to the watchmen of heaven. Why did you leave heaven? Sleep with our women. Befoul yourselves with the daughters of man, as the sons of earth once did, begetting giant sons. In South America, near the borders of Peru and Bolivia, there is this legend. Many years ago, on the day the sun was at its highest point, something like a house descended from the sky. It looked like a blazing golden vessel. There were no clouds in the sky. Nevertheless, the earth trembled as if struck by a mighty clap of thunder. The horrified people threw themselves on the ground. Only Actahuma remained standing. He was the bravest and best. This golden house-like thing landed on the silver disk of Lake Titicaca. Then suddenly all the noise stopped. Oriana stood before him, the goddess of heaven. She chose Actahuma to be her husband and bore him many children. Then one day she returned to the heaven from the silvery surface of Lake Titicaca in her golden vessel. The Indios who live in this region today still tell that story. Only a few years ago in Peru, a most astonishing archaeological discovery was made. The stones of Ica. When the small river Ica changed its course, suddenly thousands of these stones could be seen